there's this concept that I've been thinking about for a while. I didn't really understand it when I first heard it, but this guy's name is Osho. And Osho said, and this, he says this, but I don't remember. I need to listen to the whole thing again. But he says that to be a man is like a well. And the water in the well is love. And women come around and they draw from the well. They draw from his love. Some women don't like, some wells, right? So they go to different wells. But the thing is like these women will come into your life and you have no control over how much love they take. You just have to provide the love. And the thing is and I was thinking about this concept, and I was like, in order to become a well, like you have to fill up that love within yourself. Like you have to be the person that has the love for yourself, and you fill yourself up with love, right? If you're the well, you fill yourself up with love, and then you attract people around. Because if you're just an empty well, you're useless, basically. So people that don't have love for themselves, they're dried out wells, and they're basically traps. They just hurt people. People fall in, right? Like, I don't know. I'm messing around with the concept, but it's that like idea that, and I was thinking about how this applies to other things too. It's not just like when you don't love yourself, when you don't like have love for yourself, you're like an empty well. You don't have anything to provide. Right? And there's some other things that kind of go into this concept that I was thinking about for the last few years, basically. Recently I watched this guy on Twitch. His name is Macy J, and he does Rainbow Six Siege streams. I really like that game, so I watch him and I learn a lot from him, but it's also cool to see how he thinks and how he plays the game, because he's different. And he said something that like I sort of, like it all sort of made sense. He said that he doesn't watch other people's streams. He just like streams himself, but he doesn't watch, other Rainbow Six streams, or like he doesn't know anything other than maybe like the I know he watches like the pro streams because he's really interested in the way the pros play. But he said aside from that, he doesn't watch like, like in everyday, like other Rainbow Six, content creators or whatever. He sort of just does his own thing. And then I heard, I saw a TikTok of Lil Wayne talking about music, and him, like, he said there was a moment in time where like he was not listening to anyone else's music. So people would ask him questions about, oh, what'd you think about this album or that album? And he had no opinion because he wasn't listening to anyone else's music while he was making his own. And I was thinking like that in this world, like right now, I'm watching TikToks, I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm watching 20 different things I have, all while having Spotify play in the background. I have like so much stimulation going on. And I'm just thinking like, I'm like just drawing, like, I guess like I think of it like when it goes back to the well idea, it's like I'm going around like drawing from other wells, but I'm not like focusing on myself, like I'm focusing on other people, they're the drawing from their well, right? Like they're providing love, or in this case, they're providing entertainment. And I'm sort of I'm playing like the female character in that concept, right? I'm going around and like trying this, trying that, water, giving this person attention, giving that person attention. Meanwhile, they're sitting there creating the content. Like in Macy J's, like Macy J, thinking about him, like I watch his streams all the time. So I'm giving him my attention, like when I'm watching his streams. And he's sitting there, he's basically like refilling his well of basically the attention, right? On his stream. And I was thinking of like, when I was thinking about my channel's like an empty well. I haven't filled it with content in a long time. I mean, there's plenty of content to watch, but it's not flowing. It's like stagnant water, right? Like everyone's had a taste of it. Everyone's had a taste of everything that I have to offer on my channel for the most part. And I need to get things flowing again. And it's like, even with my music stuff, like I haven't really actually recently I've been like making music and like recording again and producing beats and all that kind of stuff for myself, just like, but I haven't really, I've only released one of the things that I've worked on. I have a few other songs and a few other projects that I have, but I've just been afraid to post them for some reason, because, when I started this channel, it was all about gaming, right? It was all, and now like, I feel like I want to switch to just making regular music. And that's, like not everyone's I built this channel on gaming. And, it changed over time, but the audience changed too, right? Some people stuck around, some people didn't, because people are wanting certain things, right? Like it's just like the concept of the well, like the water changed, right? From like, I don't know, from sparkling or from, regular water to sparkling water or whatever. I don't know. But, the content changed. So so the people are, they're going somewhere else to get their fix. Right. I think even just on YouTube too, but I also think like things are going to start. I think people are going to want longer content, like content that they can sit down and actually enjoy, rather than, having like 20 different videos pop up like on, like TikTok sort of has. I think people are going to want to detox from that at some point in the future. But I was just thinking about this concept. I was like, I'm not providing fresh content, fresh water all the time. I mean, I am right now, but I also, that concept also is about music too. I'm like, I listen to so many other like artists. I listen to their music, and sometimes it's almost the same stuff all the time. And I love the music, but the thing is like, it influences my music. I start to compare myself with these people. I'm like, and I listen to Drake a lot. I listen to, I don't know, I have a huge list of people I listen to. I listen to Mac Miller a lot. And I listen, there's so many, I listen to like Joe Budden. There's a whole bunch of artists that I listen to like daily. And I love the music, but on some levels it's stagnant. It's like keeping me, but it's also like I start to compare my music with theirs. And that's not fair, because one, they're just different people. Like they're not making the same kind of music that I'm making. And yeah, they're great influences. They're great people to be inspired by. But when you're sitting there making something and you're like, nah, this ain't it. Like, and it's because you're comparing to these other people instead of taking your time and like saying like, okay, why is this not it? Like, what am I trying to convey in my song? What am I trying to put out there? Like, what am I trying to tell the audience? What am I trying to express? Because to me, like, music is artwork. It's art, it's like everyone's going to interpret stuff differently. People are going to interpret the music as, as one thing, and it turns into another thing when you add visuals to it, right? Like when you take a song and you do a TikTok dance to it, right? It changes the whole thing. It makes it either cool or not cool or whatever. It's like, it makes it different. It's a different experience, and everyone experiences music differently because everyone has different variables, right, to their life. Like some people might be better. I've learned that some people focus more on the musical aspect of songs. Like they listen to like the beat, and they listen to the chords, and they listen to like the melody. Whereas some people, and I think the study said like mostly women are like this, but most women will focus on the lyrics, because the lyrics and the story inside of the song are more important than the actual beat, right? Like what they're saying is more important than the melody. But like for me, I know for a fact that I am a melody person. For me, the melody of the beat or of the instrumental of whatever it is, might be rock or rap or EDM or whatever. It could be any of those things, but like I mostly pay attention to the melodies, to the sounds. The lyrics to me are second. But when I'm making music, I'm providing everything. So sometimes the lyrics, like they can, when I'm making lyrics, a lot of times I'm just making the lyrics to sound a certain way because they match the melody better. And sometimes the message, gets muddied or muddled by like the sound of the of the syllables or whatever. And I think about those things, and I'm just like, so I start to compare myself, and it's a road of, it's like a mastery, right? Like over time you learn how to write music that is that appeals to everyone, right? Like this, that's why when people make that's why big hit songs are very simple, very like watered down. Like they don't have like all the complexities of that like, it's more of like the underground sort of music has. And then I start to think like, so going back to the Lil Wayne thing, like Lil Wayne, he doesn't listen to other people. Like he doesn't like listen to their music. Well, I think it might be different now, but during that interview, he said that he doesn't listen to other people's music. Macy J, he doesn't listen to other people, or he doesn't watch anyone else's stream, so he doesn't know what's going on with them. And for me, it's like I'm sitting here like wanting to do all this stuff, but instead I'm like watching things, or I'm on TikTok, or and I was noticing it today, like when I went to get food, I went to lunch, and I couldn't, I was just like, I got to turn on something so I could, eat lunch. And I was like, turn on the TV or turn on a show or something. And it's like, why? Like, why can't I just enjoy my food and like pay attention to the food? Because the food is so good. Like why can't I why is that not enough? Why is that not enough stimulation? And it's like, man, I noticed that I'm so hardwired to be stimulated visually that like I can't even escape to just, have a conversation with my dinner or my lunch. The thing is like there's a lot when you're eating, there's a lot going on that you can pay attention to. It's almost like meditation. It's like like when you taste the texture and the taste, and like there's peppers and there's chilies and there's onions, and all those things have their own sort of taste, and they all blend together. And then there's the rice, and there's like the different flavors of, and then when you blend it together and you taste like the drink, like for me I had a soda, so I drink the soda and like taste I had like a steak and chili sort of teriyaki bowl sort of thing. I don't know if it was teriyaki, but it had some sort of sauce. But it was shishito peppers with steak, and rice. And like I was eating that and I'm like, man, this is such a good meal, but I'm like looking for like a video to watch so I can watch and eat. And it's like, why? Like there's enough content just in this bowl right here. I don't need to be sitting there watching, a stream or watching or listening to something just to eat. It's like I can have a conversation with my food. And as I was eating, it felt so strange. It felt like, oh, this is what life is like. This is what life was like when I was growing up. Like we didn't have TVs playing and all that. And the other thing I noticed is I don't sit at the table. I'm like, I was sitting on my coffee table, like near in my living room, so that I was gonna watch something, and then I was like, nope, I'm gonna just turn everything off and I'm gonna just eat. And I did that, and I noticed it was just a new experience, and it almost felt like that feeling you get when you're camping, when it's like it's just such a different situation. But yeah, like, so when going back to like the well thing, I need, and I know I need to do this. It's like, I know that I need to move or step away from all this stimulation of all of these things for a while, and like just focus on my own content, focus on my own stuff, focus on my own job, my work, focus on like stuff that I want to do for myself. And obviously you can take breaks and you can do this slowly, but it's like getting back to yourself. And I think that that's part of the problem of why sometimes I feel like I'm not, I'm not enough or sometimes I feel like I have this, like, I have FOMO, or fear of missing out. When I'm like more like tapped in than most people, right? Like I'm like, and what I mean by more tapped in is like I'm constantly like watching new stuff, like watching new TikToks and learning new stuff, like, and like just being constantly stimulated. And other people, they're doing their thing. They're spending time on their own projects and their own lives and doing all this, and I'm focusing on like everything outside of me instead of things inside. And then I started to think about it, and like I remember a long time ago, or there's that really common saying that like happiness comes from within, right? Like everything, like it's almost like it feels like I'm searching outside of myself for happiness, when really the happiness is just like being happy. Like you just choose to be happy. And it's like this outside, like if something outside validates, then maybe I'll be happy. It's like, oh, if I find a girlfriend, then I'll be happy. Oh, if I get a house, like if I get a mansion, then I'll be happy. If I get, like if I go out and I buy like a Ferrari, oh, I'm going to be happy. No, you're probably going to still be miserable. Those things are just, they're just physical things, then they don't come with feelings. I mean, you might be excited when you get your Ferrari and like, you're like, oh, this is so cool. And then you get a flat tire, and then you got a, and then no towing company works with your insurance because they're afraid to get, sued, or they're afraid to break something. They don't have the equipment to take care of your Ferrari. So then you got to wait like 2 or 3 hours for someone when you just got a flat tire. Whereas if you just had a regular, like a regular car, like a Honda Civic or whatever, then, anyone could just come over and fix your vehicle. But, it's just like, there's complexities to everything. When you buy a house, you're not going to be happy because there's a lot of work. it's like a lot of work. I mean, you might be happy for, initially, but then the HOA comes and says like, oh, you can't have that outside your house, or you need to cut this tree down, or you need to do this, you need to do that, like that. You can't paint your car, or you can't paint your house this color, or whatever they say. All those kinds of rules that are so weird with HOAs. But anyway, like there's stuff like that happens. It's like you're not. Anyway, so I got to this point where I was just like, I know that I need to understand like myself. Like I need to fill myself with my own happiness, my own love. And I know that I'm like, what's holding me back from that? And that's what I've been thinking about. And and I think what it is that I've just been looking outside. Like I've been looking for, if I had a girlfriend, I'd be emotionally stable. Something like that, right? Like that's the worst logic. It's like, I'll be happy then if I had, a girlfriend, or if I had this, or if I had that. And I think about that, and it's like all the girls that I've dated, I think that was like the main thing that I needed to learn, was that they're not in charge of my happiness. Like I'm in charge of my happiness. Nothing outside of me is going to give me happiness. Like if I had 1 million subscribers and every video that I posted had 3 million views, like I might, that's cool, but I'll probably, I mean, you see some of these TikTok people, or some of these these like influencer people, they look like they're the happiest people, especially on Instagram. Like these people, they look like they're happy. They look like everything is going great in their lives. But a lot of them are so miserable. Like they don't have fun at all doing what they do. I was watching this video about these people on TikTok or on Instagram. It's like a family, like the mom wanted everything to be Instagrammable, like every part of the house. Like the kids couldn't even have like the toys they wanted or anything like that. Everything had to be this like really bland like color, like this color scheme that she had that was like everything was pastels, and everything had to be like a certain whatever, and there was no clutter around and all that. And like she wanted at any moment to be able to walk into a room and take a picture, and like it was such a miserable living. And they eventually broke up. They got a divorce because the guy said he couldn't live like that. He couldn't live this fake life. And the thing is that woman was getting validation from all these other people, like, your life is so beautiful. I wish your life, I wish my life was like that. I wish my family was that put together. Behind the scenes, they're so miserable. So like, if they're miserable, then what am I praising them for? Like if and I think about, like some of these artists, and I look at myself like, there's some exceptions like Kanye West, right? Like these guys that do everything, right? Like they produce their music, they perform their music, they do all the sound engineering, they do all that stuff at first, right? Like for instance, so Kanye West at first, right? He didn't have, no one really like gave him the time of day, because that's just how the music world is. Like they're not, unless you have to build an audience before they even talk to you. So like Kanye West was a nobody. And then he had to do everything himself at first. Now he has a whole team, a whole thing. I remember the Beach Boys. I worked with them in the past. And they told me like someone writes, like some of the songs are written by them. And you can read it on the credits. Some of the songs are written by them, but some of them are written by other people, and they just perform the songs. And it's like, and I was asking him, is that like typical, or is that like what everyone sort of does? And yeah, there's a whole, like the songs that you listen to on the radio and stuff, like most of the time there's like a whole group, a whole agency working on those songs and those things. And But then, there's obviously some independent artists that do all the stuff themselves. I'm one of those people that like I have to do everything. Like I don't trust nobody with any of the things that I do. It's like I need to do this myself so I can get it right. And maybe eventually I'll have a team to do whatever I want. But first I need to fill myself up with. I need to treat myself like a well, and in order for people to come by and like enjoy the things that I'm producing, the creativity that I'm putting out in the world, the art that I'll be putting out, like I need to understand what art is for me, for myself first. And that, that can happen while I'm, releasing stuff and doing all that kind of stuff. But, it's not like, it's like, I look at some of these artists, like going back to Kanye West, right? If you were to look at him as a well, he's someone that is like, he's overflowing. He's a well that is overflowing and turned into, a lake or river or raging river, an ocean, like those types of people, they're no longer a well. They've turned into a whole ocean, right? So it's like, especially Kanye, you think about like how much he loves himself, right? He loves himself more than anyone in the world. And it's crazy. Obviously like he has his own issues now, but yeah, these people, and when I talk about like this concept, I'm just talking about it in like, so for instance, Kanye West, he has this thing, right, where he has this like in his artwork or in his music and what he produces, the things that he works on, like those things, like the shoes and the all that stuff, like the things that he puts his heart into, those are the things that I'm talking about. Like his regular life is a mess. And, like even when I compare like my, some of my stuff, like my music or whatever, if I compare it to his stuff, I'm like, oh man. But then I compare my life and I'm like, at least my life isn't that messed up. It's like, but going back to the concept, filling yourself up with love, even in relationships, like when women, in my case, when women come around and I don't have love for myself, right? Like sometimes I don't have love for myself. I mean, I'm building on it, but like for a long time, I really didn't like myself. And because of that, I know that like the women that I dated could see that. They could feel it. It just like, for them, it's like a ick, right? It's like they don't want to feel that. Like they want someone who's confident, someone who's pouring, and like somebody who just oozes confidence, right? Someone who just has this like very strong foundation of self-love, like that. They love that. And sometimes they can be fooled by stuff too, right? Like if a person works out, that's a form of self-love. It's like taking care of your body and being healthy, being so healthy that you're physically attractive. But then you get to their personality, and the reason why they're so built and they're so strong and they're so, they focus so much on their physical bodies because they don't want to spend any time on their mental health. They don't want to go and do anything to help make themselves better. So then they learn, like they might have sex with them and like do physical things with them, but then there's no longevity because they don't love themselves. And then if like two people don't love themselves, they're literally just sucking each other dry, personality wise, right? Like they're literally just putting themselves in a bad situation and making it worse. They're making themselves worse. One or the other, right? Each person, like they they're so lonely for another person that they just accept this other person just because at least they have physical attraction. And then, you know, like people who have great personalities and people who are really strong, who are confident and who have that like real like masculine men, like they usually don't, like they're not the loudest in the room. They're always like, they're just strong. They don't need to prove themselves to anybody. They don't need to be loud for no reason, because they're good, right? So I've been thinking about this concept. It's like, I really need to spend some time and almost turn off all the music that I listen to or something, like maybe take more and more breaks from it and spend more time writing my own music, listening to my own music, figuring out how I can become a stronger storyteller, how I can become how I can become more articulate, how I can make my videos better, right? Like learn how to do all these things so that in the future I can, when I want to express myself, I can express myself in a very confident way. And even when I make these Minecraft videos, sometimes I'll make a video and I'll just be like, I don't know, there was no moments in there where I thought like I made any like strong points. Then I listen to them, you know, like I have some that are on my hard drive and I'm just like, I don't know if I'll ever release these, because I listen back to them and I'm like, nah, I didn't really say anything here. But a lot of times it's like I could just be posting videos like all the time. I could literally post these Minecraft videos like almost daily, because sometimes I'll record them and like they just won't hit for me, and I'll just be like, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. But like, I don't know, like but that's also my process. And then on that note, also Lil Wayne said that he might make he said he'll make like around 100 songs, and he only chooses like up to 16 for his album. And I'm like, man, like, and he makes songs every day. Like he makes new songs every day, so that by the time people hear them, they are, you know, they're like a year away. They've been like, he's been listening to them for a year already. So I think about that and it's just like I don't do that. I don't have that kind of passion for, you know, a lot of the stuff that I do. Like even these Minecraft videos, I don't have a passion for this. Like I just like talking, you know, I just like putting my ideas down on video, so that way later I can listen to them and be like, oh yeah, that's where I was at that time. That's where I was when I was making this video. But I've just been thinking about this well concept for so long, and it's pretty, I don't know, it just hit me in a way, and I'm just like, wow, like I really don't like put time into like the stuff that I do to like really appreciate it. And like I'm always just comparing, you know, my work and my artwork and my stuff that I post, the content that I post. I just like, I compare it all the time to other people. I'm like, why don't I have the success that they have when I know that my stuff is a lot better? But it's better to me, and like that doesn't mean that everyone's gonna like it, right? So like, it's okay. As long as I'm happy, it doesn't matter. That's the thing I need to get to. It's like, it doesn't matter if I get numbers or if I get anything. What matters is that I love what I'm doing, because the more that I love what I'm doing, the more that people are going to feel that energy, and they're going to be, you know, drawn to it. It's going to be like light, like an oasis in a desert. They're going to be like, wow, this guy really loves what he's doing. And, you know, it's cool. Like this works. Like I like this. And, that energy, you know, when you're making artwork, whatever you're feeling in that moment is the feeling that you're going to put into your art. It doesn't matter if you're making a happy song and you're sad, crying. Like, people are going to feel the inauthenticity. Like, they can feel authenticity in things so much stronger than they can feel the song, or, you know, they feel in, like, whatever it is you're creating. They can feel your feelings because it comes through in the way that you speak, or in the way that you deliver things, or in the way that your art comes out. People can feel all of that. Authenticity is the number one, is, you know, like everyone is drawn to authenticity. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. And I hope you guys have, you know, a great day or great night wherever you're at. I'll catch you later. Peace out.